I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll bring the April 7th meeting to order, and we'll start with any public comment. Yeah.
Hi. I brought a letter. Could I read it?
Absolutely.
Okay. And would I give it to you
Yep.
afterwards? Is that okay?
Yep.
This is, well, I'll just read the letter.
Yeah, just read it. All right.
Several years ago, my husband and I purchased a summer residence in Topinabee. Our choice was based mainly on the proximity to the Topinabee Beach Park, so that our children and grandchildren could walk there. Unfortunately, our expectations for a great beach park experience were dashed the first year, that first summer. Our daughter and her children were frequent visitors and went to the park every day unless it rained. Almost every day she went to the beach, she was shocked at the abusive language the adults were using around and then even towards the little kids on the beach. One day, 2 young male adults came to the beach in their work clothes. They disrobed on the beach down to their underpants, and then they went swimming. Well, that was the last time my daughter went there, last straw for us. My daughter stopped going to the Topinabee Beach Park, and instead she went to Indian River's got a city park, and then Sheboygan's got a city beach also. But after the improvements to the Topinabee Beach Park, she went there once to see and use the new park, and she was thrilled by the cleanliness, the usefulness, and the welcoming feeling. There were many more families with young children now using the park, and the change in character is remarkable. As summer residents, we support and applaud the hard work and perseverance needed by this board, and we know all the volunteers from the community that have to be used to achieve these changes amidst unfair and very malicious negativity that attempts to block every effort. In addition, my son just mentioned that when he had taken his sons to the old beach park, he would first pick up the glass, trash, and cigarettes butts from the beach area before he could let his boys play along the water's edge. Since the new park has been in existence, that is not the case. Please include this letter in the board meeting minutes.
Great. Thank you very much. Just give it to Rachel.
Yeah,
She'll,
I'll take it.
and we'll include it in our
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
yeah. Great. Any other? Erv?
Yeah. Well, I have to disagree with the park. I don't like how it is. I don't support the streetscape. And I'm just wondering, has everybody on the board actually seen the streetscape plan?
Mm-hmm.
Have you?
It was handed out last month.
Okay.
The meeting.
Does anybody want to comment on anything I put in the paper in the last couple of weeks? Nothing?
I read it.
Did you? Okay. I'd just like to say, I see Tom's here. He's made a number of comments about how his plan isn't perfect, but nobody else has a plan. Last year I presented a plan, and it was a little bit bigger than just Topinabee, but I think that it had a lot of merit to it, and it's just not parking lots and sidewalks. And I don't think that's what Topinabee needs. I don't think that's going to do anything for the community. I asked Paul last week when he was looking at the park improvements about what trees were going to be taken down or what was going to be left there. As far as I'm concerned, he outright lied to me. I seen the plans, and what he should have said is, yeah, 6 of the 7 trees that are still left there are going to get taken down, because that's what's going to happen. And a couple more of the new ones that were just planted. So, you know, for him to say, yeah, we're going to work around as many as possible, that's not true at all. The only tree that's actually going to survive that upper deck is one that happens to be out of the way where it didn't fall into where it was going to get demolished. It's just, it was lucky enough to be grown in a spot that it's not going to get taken care of. it doesn't look like anybody has done any plans as far as working around any trees or anything. And Dennis, I'm going to point a finger at you too. When we were talking about the street lights thing, and you made it perfectly clear there was going to be no more, we weren't going to put any more street lights in. Well, that street light, or that streetscape plan has 39 more street lights. So, you know, if you guys, maybe you didn't know it at the time, I don't know, but somebody's going to pay for those lights, and I'm sure it's going to be the people in that lighting district. And I don't think it's, I'm going to go right back and say it's not fair for the people in the 27 corridor to be paying for all them extra lights. If you want a special lighting district in Topinabee, then have at it. But I don't like all that lighting at all. And MaryAnne, last week when you asked Paul, or last month when you asked Paul what a rain garden was,
I know what a rain garden was.
well, you sure as heck didn't get through.
Well, you didn't listen to what I said. I went on the line to find out where the rain garden was, and I was wondering why you were putting it where you were putting it. That's what I asked him. And so I was really offended when you made the comment in the paper, because that wasn't true at all.
Because that's the way it came across to me.
Well,
because that's one of my biggest concerns. That's one of my plans in this whole Topinabee thing, is if you actually took the time and researched rain gardens, Topinabee would be a great place to utilize it throughout the town. We've got all these abandoned streets that aren't being used. If the township owned those, we could work a rain garden system right from the top of the hill to the lake. We wouldn't have to put in this great big storm sewer drain that's going to pump all this stuff right into the lake. I just think we're way beyond that. We have the capability of studying this stuff and using nature to the best we can, not cover it over and try to figure out some way to dump the water somewhere else. You know, it could be, the Topinabee could be a more model community for handling stormwater with a stormwater rain garden system. It could end up being a showpiece. People would come to see how we're dealing with the stormwater and letting Mother Nature take care of it instead of dumping it in the lake to poison off the lake. I would like anybody on this board to explain to me how this streetscape, what is the target goal of this streetscape plan? I mean, is there a certain type of business that you want to bring into this community, or is it just fix up the town and then maybe have some mystery developer come in and put up condos? I mean, was there a set plan before the streetscape actually went into effect? So, you know, that's the kind of questions I'd like to get from this board tonight, to see, you know, where the streetscape is supposed to be taking us.
Well, we've had public comments on streetscape. I'm not sure if you're referring to the whole streetscape plan or if you're referring to our current plan.
Well,
but
it's all a streetscape plan.
We'd be more than happy.
I mean, all the park. I'm going to hand you out this. This is my last.
Okay. Well.
Thing I've been working on, and this is how a lot of people that I talk to feel.
Okay. Well, we really appreciate your comments, and we will take them under advisement. But we've had very many open public hearings on streetscape, and we'll have a lot more before we're finished.
Yeah, as far as I see, it's like we're working on the park to take a bite off the streetscape, and then pretty soon we're dumping $500,000 and another $1 million or in this, and it's just taking chunks from the streetscape. It's all part of the streetscape plan. All this stormwater that's getting buried in the ground, the stormwater system, is all part of that streetscape.
Well, nobody's hiding. That's exactly. We said we were doing these in phases, and the parking was first, and fixing up some of the things that we can make our park even better.
I don't see how paving over what all this is going to do for the businesses in Topinabee. It's not going to fix some of the rundown buildings. It's not going to do anything.
Okay. Well,
what you got to have is a target, a plan in place that says, okay, we want to draw this kind of people into this community, this kind of business, and then work a plan around that.
Yeah, I think you've had enough time.
Okay.
But we will definitely, I mean, we know where you stand on this, and we definitely want to hear your opinion. But we want to do it the next time we have a public hearing on streetscape or another piece of it, you can come and express your opinions. We got to hear opinions of everybody, and not just yours. Yeah. Yes.
My name is Moses Zainea. My wife Francine. Like my wife said, we moved into the area maybe several years ago. But the plan of the streetscape, I was very surprised of your comments, sir. But the streetscape to us is safety. The lights, once Topinabee Market closes, it's pitch dark, and it's not very safe for our kids to be out into the area there. And that corner, that junction, is so out of shape that trucks and vehicles will just travel right into that gas station, and with no direction on how to turn. They just have total control of the median, and that's another thing. The parking, I think that will identify places to park with the streetscape for these other vehicles. But the most important thing with the lights and the parking is, I think, is also safety for the community and the beauty too.
Yeah. Thank
So
you.
we're very pleased, and we live right above the market, and it's very dark.
Tom?
Yeah, first I would like to ask that the reporter who's here from the Tribune please ensure that he gets all the facts before any stories get written about comments made tonight. For instance, what I have seen of the most recent project, there are not trees being cut down. I think the plan was developed specifically to try to ensure that additional trees did not come down. There's parking at the north end of the pavilion, which is an open area right now. There's parking that's going to be developed next to the restrooms, which is all an open area right now. There are additional pathways.
There's 2 trees.
And if you look at the plan, I don't believe the trees are being cut down. Further, when we speak about water that's flushing into Mullett Lake, the water is already flushing into Mullett Lake without the benefit in any, all the rainwater that goes down the road is.
That's what the
Hey,
rainwater guard system.
Irv, let's let him have his time.
Okay, so all the rainwater today is going in. The streetscape plan includes a filtration vortex, and there's an attempt being made to put in some bioswales to help filter the water before it reaches Mullett Lake. That's all part of the plan. So I just want to make sure that the facts are there before anything's written. I typically don't comment on most of the falsehoods that are said or written. I just consider the source and then ignore them accordingly. I actually find some of them quite comical. There are statements that get made in letters written where it's obvious that certain individuals are either grossly misinformed or intentionally attempting to deceive. I'll leave it to you to decide. When people refer, for instance, to the Topinabee Beachfront Park as the TDA Park and publicize it as such in letters or blogs, I think rational and responsible individuals know, for instance, that the Topinabee Beach Park is owned and controlled by Mullett Township. But rather than speak in an abstract or general manner, let me provide a recent concrete example of some of the nonsense that's going on. In a letter to the editor just today, a certain individual spoke of, and I quote, Tom O'Hare's dream called the Miracle Mile, which was presented to a select group, unquote. No one has ever referred to it as the Miracle Mile project, which is how this individual characterizes that I represented it and presented it. I think everyone realizes we have always referred to it as the Streetscape Initiative or the Streetscape Project. The letter stated, and I quote, that the Streetscape did not come from the TDA working with Mullett Township Board. The truth is that before we ever had a meeting at our house, we met with some of the board members to determine if they would support an effort like this. The answer was yes, otherwise we would not have proceeded. The first meeting at our house, which was attended by over 60 people, was attended by a township board representative. The very first master planning session held in the town hall with a consultant from Grand Rapids was open to the public and attended by representatives from the Mullett Township Board. Virtually every TDA board meeting has had a township representative in attendance who is actively involved in the discussion. Township board members regularly attend annual TDA meetings and have often made presentations at them. The process has occurred hand in hand with the township board and there have been resolutions of support from the Township Board, the County Commission, the Planning Commission, and the Road Commission. So either the individual making these statements is misinformed, which might be understandable, or intentionally attempting to deceive. You can decide. On a subjective note, the letter I'm referencing also stated, and I quote, Topinabee wasn't subjected to the problems of many northern Michigan towns because it has always been driven by tourism. In light of the fact that Topinabee once had 2 gas stations, 2 or 3 restaurants, a bar, a realtor's office, 2 markets, a full-service bakery, a busy hardware store, a bait and tackle shop, and more, and now has at its core only 1 market and gas station, Cafe Noka and ABC Rustics, along with a now closed hardware store, a storage building that was once a thriving service station, and another building with vacant retail units and mostly vacant rental apartments, I find the assertion in the letter, quite frankly, somewhat preposterous. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Any other comments, public comments?
May I? Just to correct some errors of fact, Rachel Osborne, Clerk Osborne, recently attended the County Commissioners meeting, and the Commissioners actually took the time to look at what the parking lot project entails, which is to add an extensive storm sewer system underneath the parking lot that ties into the 18-inch storm sewer that was installed as part of the park project. 290 feet of 18-inch storm sewer was installed as part of the Topinabee Beach Park improvements.
Right.
And now that parking lot project is again hiding another storm sewer, which is only being put in to serve the streetscape. Now, regardless of what Tom says, the water that runs off the highway right now, most of it soaks into the ground and is naturally filtered before it reaches Mullett Lake. When you add the curb and gutter, it will directly drain into the lake right at the park. You have a big outflow right there by the boat dock. So I just wanted to clarify that fact. I think what we have here is one group of people who have moved to the area who want to create an environment that possibly they're familiar with. An urban park, curb and gutter.
I think,
excuse me?
I'm going to just stop
Excuse me?
I don't
You did not interrupt anybody else.
I'm going to interrupt you because this person has not just
Make sure you
moved to
record
the
this,
area.
Brady.
This person has not moved to the area. And this is the kind of falsehoods that I think everybody on this board is tired of. They've had family in this area for over 100 years. And many of the people that you accuse of moving to the area and are part of the TNA have had family in this area for 100 years. So I think the newcomer isn't these people that you're talking about. It may just be you.
I'm just commenting this couple right here that just commented that they just recently moved here.
You just talked about
I'm sorry. This is supposed to be public comment. I did not interrupt anybody else's public comment, but it's okay to interrupt mine.
I'm a newcomer. My wife isn't. She's been coming up here since she was a little girl.
Yeah. Okay, finish it.
Finish it. Well, you finished it. Here is democracy at hand. Sheboygan County, they looked at the plans. Your letter of endorsement from Sheboygan County is a vote of 5 yes, 2 no. None of you have seen the parking lot design plans, I don't believe.
I think we all have.
John said he just saw the concept. I don't know if Dennis saw other than the concept.
We all saw the plans.
Yeah,
The final plans aren't done yet, Carl. That's all that's available is the concept. Because until, if we get a grant, the grant will pay for the final design.
The final design has already been done. The design is
that's what Paul explained on the wall. Was not the final design. That was a concept. It probably has a lot of detail, a lot more than what you may be used to in a concept design. But it is not considered the final design. He explained that when he had the drawings hanging on the wall.
That was a concept.
Yes.
If you want to see the actual plans, they are at the Topinabee Library. I've spent about between $60-some with Rachel to get, because she cannot unfortunately forward a PDF for the large scale plans, and then Paul forwarded the rest of the plans as a PDF and then I took them over to Coffee Shop in Petoskey, and so I've about a $200 investment so far. So if you want to see the full plans, they're available at the Topinabee Library. And when Erv makes a comment on how many street lights or how many trees are being removed, these are the plans that show sewer lines, storm sewer lines, curb and gutter, trees to be removed. It's all down there. I did give each of you a handout just to be, and you have a handout here on my concerns on the way that everyday ordinary tasks are being performed in Mullett Township right now. And MaryAnne within the budget hearing wanted to give this contractor a raise. And from what I can see, and I've done a lot of cost estimating, time estimating for task and professional position, it appears that he's making about $60 an hour right now. And I think that's something you'll have to address, just because nobody at the board wants to take time to actually hire an employee, provide some oversight and supervision so that we're not spending $30,000 a year for part-time work. Thank you.
Yeah. Mary?
Just curious if Mr. Muscott or Mr. Crawford are residents in Mullett Township. Could you answer that question?
I've always been a resident.
Thank you.
I'm a taxpayer. I actually moved out of Mullett Township because I didn't like the environment. I still pay taxes in Mullett Township, though. In fact, I actually pay more taxes in Mullett Township than I do for a residence in Indian River.
The answer is yes. You're a resident.
I'm a taxpayer in Mullett Township.
Thanks.
He's not a resident.
You're not a resident.
By choice.
Why don't you stay out?
Thank you, David. Thank you, David. Appreciate your input.
Okay.
To something that has to do with the drainage. 2 summers ago, we lost almost all the beach before I think it was 2 or 3 summers ago, when it rained real bad, and we lost part of the bike trail, caved in, and then we lost all the new sand that they had, and I hope the drainage will take care of those kinds of problems, because it was a lot of money for them to replace all the hillside there by the beach.
Right. Any other public comment? Okay, I'm going to close public comment. And we have quite a few letters that need to be read. Rachel, do you want to take care of those now?
Yeah, I just gotta get the time we close.
Oh, 7:20.
That's okay, thank you. First of all, I'd like to read a letter from the Northeast Michigan Council of Governments, otherwise known as NEMCOG. They did a final review of our conceptual plans, and they had given us an endorsement originally that went with the grant. And I got this letter the other day. This letter constitutes the final review by the Northeast Michigan Council of Governments in regard to the below named project notification submitted by your governmental unit or agency. Also included are the comments, if any, returned to NEMCOG by the governmental units or those agents which represent interests relative to your project application. These attachments should be included in your final application package when it is submitted, and it gives the number. And the final review comments are: the review period is concluded and no issues of concern have been raised with regard to your proposal. The Region 9 Clearinghouse fully supports this proposal and recommends it for funding. So that's done. This is a letter from Keith Hadden. I have reviewed the current engineering streetscape plans and have to say that I am still displeased with the proposal as it stands. I don't see any changes made to address concerns I raised over a year ago, and for this I am highly skeptical of the motivations, insights, and theoretical outcomes predicted by the parties driving this forward. As a property owner who will endure irreversible changes to the use and function of my adjoining properties, I have to inform you that I disapprove and stand opposed to the streetscape as planned. More specifically, there seems to be no functional or environmental effort to the way this proposal affects the commercial functionality of commerce in town. The current proposal imposes too many physical and financial complications for the community and me personally. From this point forward, I request that you make my opposition known to the engineer, DNR, MDOT, and any other state, public, private organization or authority that you would be soliciting funds from for the said project. Please acknowledge that you will refrain from citing my wife or myself as supporter of this endeavor, and that you will notify all proposed funding sources of our objection. Lastly, please read this letter in your public comment section of the next board meeting, so it is a matter of public record, which it will be. This letter is from Jill Lutz. I recently read comments in the Resorter about the streetscape and plans for the new park. I am opposed to this plan. I think the township should reconsider the long-range plans and the environmental effect from stormwater dumping into the lake. Mr. Crawford had a creative, appealing, environmental, and activity planned park. What happened to that? His plans address long-term needs for the community. Trees are of historical significance, and replacing all trees with new nursery-grown trees erases the years of the community. I encourage the township to review their plans, the DNR, and Sheboygan Planning to hold on support of this, to involve the DEQ, to understand long-term effects that will happen with stormwater runoff. And she suggests we read the minutes of MAPS 2015 newsletter. The township should review the community goals and who the intended users of the park and community will be. Focus should be on less parking, more walking, riding, swimming, and non-motorized boating. If the proposed pier, which I also oppose, goes into effect, this too would impact parking and use. Then trailer space would be needed. Send all this activity into Indian River. They have the space and mooring ramps established. Perhaps this communication should occur in the summer when seasonal residents are here to hear all sides and voice their opinions. They are people who also financially support the community and want to return generation to generation to the area. Please include this in your readings. This is from Bill Mattis. Rachel, please add me to your list of supporters. I am a resident in Topinabee and live here. I have 3 sons, each of them on a summer residence here. In the last 5 years, my daughter-in-law has had 2 sisters, a brother, and a niece that have purchased summer homes in Topinabee. Beyond that, 2 of them have purchased additional properties in Topinabee. They appreciate the changes that have been made in the park and those changes that you propose. I voted for this township board to represent my interests as a resident and property owner. I do appreciate all. This is from Mark and Rebecca Cook. I don't know them, but they live in Topinabee. We purchased property in Topinabee in 2005 and have enjoyed our time in Mullett Lake immensely. We are in support of the MNRTF grant for additional improvements to the Topinabee Beachfront Park. Our family and friends have enjoyed the new beach area, and we can't wait for the summer when our grandchildren come out and play on the beachfront playground. The improvements proposed by the grant will enhance everyone's enjoyment of Mullett Lake. The TDA, of which we are members, has been thoughtful in preserving our township essence as proposals are made in moving Topinabee forward. At the meetings we have attended, we have voiced our concerns regarding tree preservation and feel the association is attentive to this need. This is from Brian and Robin. I'm going to butcher the name.
What is it?
B-U-Y-B-I-E-B